Hello again, everyone. Thanks for joining me again. You know, according to easy believers like Charles Jennings, Praise the I Am, Jack Smack, and all these other, uncredentialed YouTube preaching quacks out here promoting free grace and once saved, always saved. I'm talking about parvenus like Kevin's Biblical Discussions and, ne'er-do-wells like Ram Gould, and I could go on and on. You know the people I'm talking about, but the ones who are always telling us that all we had to do was just believe the gospel and we are saved for all time. Uh, some call this free grace, others call this once saved, always saved. If you've believed at one time, there is nothing at all you could do to lose your salvation because you believed. And any other type of a gospel is a works gospel. And we know we're not saved by works, but we're saved by our belief system. As long as we believe what the guards of the empty tomb believed, we're going to heaven. What a wonderful gospel. It doesn't really matter what we do after that, as long as we believe. Well, I came across a little scriptural problem for that. Actually, I've been coming across scriptural problems for that pious canard for years, but this one recently came to my attention. I thought I would share it with you. Have a look. Share my screen here. Bring this up, and this is from John chapter 2 and verse 11. This is right after the story of when Jesus turns the water into wine at the wedding. Very familiar story for most of us. And John 2:11 says, Jesus did this, turned water into wine, the first of his signs, the first of his signs in Cana of Galilee, and revealed his glory. And his disciples believed in him. Now notice the last part of that verse there, and his disciples believed in him. So I guess that means they're all saved, doesn't it? They believed in him. What else did they need to do? If they needed to do anything else, that would be a works gospel, wouldn't it? Like if they had to actually stay faithful to Jesus till the end. But it says, and his disciples believed in him. So they're all saved, right? They're all going to heaven. Actually, if you read a little bit further into the book of John, to the night of the Last Supper, when Jesus is praying for his disciples, let's look at this verse. John 17:12. Jesus is praying for his disciples. He said, while I was with them, I protected them in your name, meaning his disciples. He's talking about his disciples here. While I was with them, I protected them in your name that you have given me. I guarded them, and not one of them was lost, except the one destined to be lost, so that the scripture might be fulfilled. Let's look at this again. While I was with them, I protected them in your name that you have given me. I guarded them, and not one of them was lost except the one destined to be lost, so that the scripture might be fulfilled. This would appear to be a problem for free grace and once saved, always saved. Now, Judas, of course, is the one Jesus is talking about in John 17:12, the one who betrayed him. But as we saw in John 2:11, it says his disciples believed in him. Now, believed, in all fairness, is actually a mistranslation. It should be translated, gave faith to him, because the content of the belief is not spelled out. And I've made this point many times in other videos. Unless you see in the immediate context the exact content of the belief, that verb pistuo mistranslated believe by Protestants is talking about giving allegiance. So John 2:11 is actually talking about his disciples gave allegiance to him after they saw the miracle that he did. His disciples believed in him? No, his disciples gave faith to him. They made a commitment to him as their master. But one of them broke his commitment. One of them betrayed him. And that's the one Jesus is speaking about in John 17:11, the one destined to be lost. Destined because he destines himself to be lost, to betray him. So, needless to say, this is something of a conundrum for those of these ear-tickling evangelists for the gospel according to personal sacrifice-free, easy believism, the ones who are out here every night telling us that all we had to do was just believe the gospel. Well, it turns out you have to do a little more than that. You actually have to stay faithful to the end. Faithful to the end, which Judas, of course, did not do. And so he was lost. Don't you be lost by listening to these ear-tickling YouTube preaching quacks telling you that grace is free, and once you're saved, you're always saved no matter what. The one who endures to the end will be saved. That's what Jesus said, Matthew 24:13. The one who endures to the end will be saved. All right, let me stop before I start preaching again. Be seeing you soon.